Oh, she made me weary. Them young girls, they do get weary.
In a season filled with flashy vocals and high-stakes drama, it wasn't the pyrotechnics or the high notes that captivated America. It was a PE teacher from Meridian, Mississippi, a father of two, a man who walked into the audition room not chasing fame, but carrying something far heavier: the hopes of his daughters, the weight of a struggling community, and a promise whispered into the night: if I win this, everything changes. Jamal Roberts didn't just win American Idol. He became a symbol of resilience, of faith, of staying true when the lights are brightest. But what America saw on that glittering stage was only the surface. Behind the headlines and hallelujahs lies a deeper story, one of pain, near-missed dreams, bitter backstage tensions, and a post-victory whirlwind that no one was truly prepared for. Who really is Jamal Roberts? And what hidden choices did he make to get here? This is the story behind the spotlight. Before he was America's Idol, Jamal Roberts was Meridian's son, a boy born into a world of spiritual hymns, southern grit, and the kind of faith that runs generations deep. Nestled in Mississippi's east, Meridian isn't a place you find by accident. It's a place where church choirs echo through humid Sunday mornings, and neighbors still know each other's middle names. And that's exactly where Jamal's story begins. Inside a modest church, flanked by two powerful figures: his grandfather, a bishop, and his grandmother, a steadfast deacon. To them, music wasn't entertainment. It was salvation. It was the way you cried, the way you prayed, the way you survived. By age 2, Jamal was already mimicking gospel runs and dancing to the melodies of Michael Jackson, The Temptations, and Marvin Gaye. But this wasn't just a child's hobby. It was a divine calling nurtured in the pews and polished in living room jam sessions. His voice wasn't trained in studios. It was born under stained glass windows and sharpened on cracked church microphones. Those early years didn't just shape his sound, they shaped his soul. And while the world would one day watch him on a glossy Hollywood stage, Jamal's foundation was always Meridian, raw, soulful, and rooted in something far bigger than fame. His journey didn't start with Idol. It started with a grandmother's hymn, a grandfather's blessing, and a town that believed in him before the cameras ever rolled. Long before millions voted him into stardom, Jamal Roberts was already a daily fixture in the lives of dozens of children, just not on a stage. At Crestwood Elementary School in Meridian, he wasn't known for his singing. He was Coach Roberts, the upbeat, whistleblowing PE teacher who turned dodgeball into a lesson about character and made every student feel like a champion. His days were filled with scraped knees, jump rope chants, and the smell of gym mats, not red carpets. But once the final bell rang, a different version of Jamal emerged. While the rest of the faculty packed up for the night, Jamal quietly drove to borrowed recording spaces, local open mics, or just home to his daughters, where lullabies doubled as vocal rehearsals. It was a double life he carried with care, teacher by day, dreamer by night. Few knew that this man, who taught kids to sprint, also longed to soar. And yet, that balance was deliberate. In interviews, Jamal spoke of his love for teaching not as a backup plan, but as a mission. He saw his students not just as kids, but as reminders of his own journey, mirrors of potential. But when American Idol came knocking, that equilibrium was tested. Could he chase his dream without abandoning his post? Could he transition from gym floors to global tours without losing the humility that made him who he was? Jamal made a quiet vow. If this dream ever came true, he wouldn't leave Crestwood behind. But even now, with a trophy in hand and a record deal inked, whispers linger. Will Jamal return to the classroom? Or has Coach Roberts already become a memory? When Jamal Roberts walked into the New York audition room for American Idol Season 22, there was no flashy backstory montage, no stylist curated look, just a humble father, a school teacher, and a voice that could stop time. The moment he opened with Rick James's Mary Jane, judges Luke Bryan, Lionel Richie, and Carrie Underwood went from intrigued to stunned. His tone was smooth, his delivery soulful, and the grit in his voice made it clear. This wasn't someone chasing clout. This was a man who had lived every word he sang. With unanimous yeses, Jamal didn't just earn a golden ticket to Hollywood. He ignited a movement. Viewers began calling him the soul of the season. By the end of that first week, Hollywood Week only deepened that title. His emotional rendition of Her Heart by Anthony Hamilton was raw and vulnerable. drawing visible emotion from the judges and instant buzz from Idol fans. Social media lit up with comments like, "He's not singing, he's testifying." But it was his powerhouse version of Tennessee Whiskey that made the industry lean in. Jamal didn't imitate Chris Stapleton, he rebuilt the song in his own image, fusing gospel emotion with a velvet R&B edge. Then came Disney Night, and with it, Risk. Contestants were told to reinvent a classic. Jamal chose Beauty and the Beast, a decision that baffled even his fans. Early rehearsals were shaky, he didn't connect with the material. But with the guidance of guest mentor Lin-Manuel Miranda, something clicked. Jamal stripped the song of its fairy tale polish and transformed it into a bluesy R&B confession. Lionel Richie called it a masterstroke of reinvention. Critics agreed it was the standout of the night. As the competition intensified, Jamal's performances remained consistent, yet never predictable. He tackled Jelly Roll's Liar in Hawaii, a bold move considering the song's emotional weight. But the gamble paid off. Jelly Roll himself publicly praised Jamal's rendition, tweeting that it might be the best cover of the song he'd ever heard. That moment was a turning point. Jamal was no longer an underdog, he was a front-runner. Week after week, he delivered. Shout by the Isley Brothers, Undo It by Carrie Underwood, A Change Is Gonna Come by Sam Cooke, gospel, country, soul. He moved through genres effortlessly, not with mimicry, but mastery. And always behind the voice was that ever-present story. A father singing for his daughters, a teacher singing for his town, a man singing for something bigger than himself. No American Idol season is complete without a dose of controversy. And for Jamal Roberts, it arrived on a night meant to showcase joy and magic. During Disney Night, themed around reinvention and emotional storytelling, Jamal stunned the audience with his stripped-down R&B version of Beauty and the Beast, guided by none other than Lin-Manuel Miranda. The performance earned standing ovations and fan praise that spread like wildfire across social media. But when it came time for feedback, not everyone was clapping. Guest judge Carrie Underwood, known for her precision and stage perfectionism, raised eyebrows when she critiqued Jamal's interpretation as a little too far from the original, calling it vocally uneven and emotionally disconnected at times. The crowd shifted uncomfortably. Luke Bryan seemed puzzled. Lionel Richie tried to soften the moment, but the damage was done. Within minutes, the hashtag number Justice for Jamal began trending, and by midnight, a digital storm had erupted. Fans accused Underwood of bias, claiming she was unfairly harsh on the season's most vulnerable and authentic performer. Several pointed out that her own career began with genre transformation, and that criticizing Jamal for doing the same felt hypocritical. Even music blogs picked up the moment, publishing headlines like Carrie's cold take sparks Idol firestorm, and fans say Carrie tried to dim Jamal's light. Twitter threads dissected the tension, with some users theorizing that producers orchestrated the moment for drama, while others speculated a deeper reason. Was Jamal becoming too powerful a favorite? Despite the controversy, Jamal remained poised. In a backstage interview later that night, he said, "I take every note to heart. I've learned from legends, and Carrie's one of them, but I also know my truth." That level-headed response only endeared him more to fans, who applauded his grace under pressure. The incident marked a turning point. No longer was Jamal just a contestant, he had become the people's champion. And the backlash against Underwood ironically amplified Jamal's influence. Streams of his performance skyrocketed, and fans doubled down in their support. For many, that night cemented one thing: Jamal didn't need universal praise to shine. He'd already lit a fire that no critique could put out. The night of May 18th, 2025, was supposed to be the triumphant conclusion of American Idol Season 22, a celebration of talent, perseverance, and the power of dreams. But moments before Ryan Seacrest announced Jamal Roberts as the winner, something peculiar happened on live television that sent the internet spiraling into conspiracy mode. As the final three, Jamal, John Foster, and Brianna Nix, stood hand in hand under the blinding lights, eagle-eyed viewers noticed John Foster glancing downward, smiling subtly, then whispering something to Jamal seconds before the winner was revealed, when Seacrest dramatically declared, "The winner of American Idol 2025 is Jamal Roberts." Foster didn't look surprised. In fact, some claimed he nodded before Seacrest spoke, sparking a wave of theories that a leak had occurred backstage. Social media sleuths wasted no time. TikTok users replayed the footage frame by frame. Reddit threads exploded with speculation. Some believed John had seen the cue card early. Others argued he overheard something from a producer's earpiece. One viral post claimed an anonymous crew member had confirmed a slip in protocol during commercial break, where a production assistant accidentally revealed the outcome to the top two. A BC, for its part, stayed silent, neither confirming nor denying the rumors. But the theory gained so much traction that what Idol leak trended on X, formerly Twitter, within 30 minutes of the finale ending. To complicate matters, a behind-the-scenes clip posted later on Instagram showed Foster congratulating Jamal and saying, "I already knew it was you, man," which only added fuel to the speculative fire. While some interpreted it as a heartfelt instinct from one friend to another, others were convinced it was a smoking gun. Still, Jamal himself never acknowledged the controversy. In every interview following the finale, he remained focused on gratitude. "That moment wasn't about me winning," he told Entertainment Weekly. "It was about what we all overcame to get there. John and Brianna, they're family to me. No drama." Yet despite his humility, the conspiracy hasn't faded. For a portion of Idol viewers, the question still lingers like static after the credits roll. Did John Foster know before America did? And if he did, how deep does that backstage misstep go? In the end, it may never be confirmed, but the incident added a layer of intrigue to Jamal's victory that no one saw coming. Behind Jamal Roberts' steady smile and calming stage presence lies a history far more turbulent than his fans ever imagined. In a post-Idol sit-down interview that quickly went viral, Jamal revealed the emotional wounds that shaped both his music and his mission. Speaking with a rare vulnerability, he opened up about a topic he had long kept private: his strained relationship with his mother. "There were years," he said softly, "where I didn't know if she was coming back. And when she did, it wasn't always better." Raised primarily by his grandparents, his bishop grandfather and deacon grandmother, Jamal said that the absence of his mother during key years of his childhood left a silence that no song could fill. He described moments as a child when he'd stand by the window waiting, holidays spent wondering if she would call, and the deep guilt he carried whenever he wished for more. Though he stopped short of sharing graphic details, Jamal admitted that his music became both his therapy and his rebellion. "I sang because I didn't want to cry," he told viewers. "I learned harmony when my life felt out of tune." But that wasn't the only scar Jamal exposed. In a separate interview with the Meridian Journal, he discussed the difficult custody battle that followed the birth of his first daughter, Harmony. At just 21, Jamal found himself fighting to prove he could raise a child on a teacher's salary, without a stable partner, and while juggling his dreams of music. The legal battle, he said, nearly broke him. "I remember holding her and thinking, if I lose this case, I lose everything." With the support of his family and the documentation of his consistent presence, he was granted full custody. Years later, his second daughter, Lyric, completed what he calls his forever duo. These experiences of abandonment, resilience, fatherhood, and redemption aren't just background details. They're etched into every performance Jamal gives. When he sang "A Change Is Gonna Come," he wasn't covering Sam Cooke. He was telling his own story. And when he wrote his coronation song "Heal," many now believe it was as much about repairing childhood wounds as it was about inspiring a nation. Jamal hasn't spoken publicly about whether he and his mother have reconciled, but in that same vulnerable moment, he offered a telling line: "I forgive her. Doesn't mean I forget, but I've learned that healing ain't just a song. It's a decision you have to make over and over again." Matty. Winning American Idol may come with confetti and camera flashes, but for Jamal Roberts, it also came with a contract, and a complicated one at that. As tradition dictates, the season 22 winner secured a deal with Hollywood Records, a label known for turning past Idol champions into chart toppers and occasionally burying them in creative limbo. While the contract is confidential, industry insiders say the deal includes an advance estimated between $125,000 to $250,000, with options tied to album releases, commercial performance, and tour obligations. But here's where things get tricky. Jamal's soulful, gospel-rooted identity isn't exactly the pop formula that labels love to push. According to sources close to the production, negotiations began almost immediately after the finale. Hollywood Records reportedly wants a debut album that blends R&B and adult contemporary with a modern radio-friendly edge. But Jamal, true to his Meridian roots, has pushed for something deeper: gospel-infused soul, stories of faith, struggle, and fatherhood, untouched by synthetic hooks or overproduced beats. This artistic tug-of-war has already caused tension behind closed doors, with one A&R rep allegedly calling Jamal's vision beautiful but commercially risky. In response, Jamal has stayed firm. "I didn't win Idol to sound like everyone else," he told Rolling Out. "I won because I didn't." There's also talk of creative shelving, an unspoken industry tactic where artists who resist label direction see their projects delayed indefinitely. Fans are already wary. After all, former Idol winners like Maddie Pop and Candice Glover faced long waits before releasing music that truly reflected their style. Some fear Jamal may face similar obstacles if he refuses to bend, but others believe his fan base, now over 139,000 strong on Instagram and growing rapidly, gives him leverage few Idol winners have had in recent years. And then there's the business side. Brand offers have begun pouring in, from athletic apparel lines tapping into his background to gospel podcast networks seeking a crossover artist. Jamal is being courted from all sides. Insiders say he's carefully reviewing deals, prioritizing alignment over dollar signs. He's not chasing checks, one source said. He's chasing legacy. Still, pressure looms. Hollywood Records wants a single out by late summer, with a full album by early 2026. Jamal's team, meanwhile, is trying to ensure he doesn't become another Idol casualty, a brilliant voice lost in industry machinery. He may have won the crown, but now comes the real challenge: staying true to himself while playing in a game built to reshape artists. And if Jamal has made one thing clear, it's this: he won't be molded. He's here to make his own sound, even if it means fighting every step of the way. If Jamal Roberts was a rising star on American Idol, his coronation as winner turned him into a digital wildfire. In just 72 hours after the finale, his Instagram following exploded, climbing from 38,000 to over 139,000 and counting. His inbox flooded. His direct messages unread in the thousands. Overnight, Jamal transformed from a small-town teacher to a brand magnet, with companies from every corner of the industry scrambling to associate their name with his story. But what sets Jamal apart in this post-Idol frenzy isn't just his voice. It's his image: authentic, grounded, relatable, and fiercely devoted to his daughters. In an industry saturated with perfectly polished personas, Jamal's unfiltered posts, videos of lyrics singing at breakfast, harmony dancing in the living room, and raw reflections on faith and fatherhood have created a deep emotional connection with fans. Major brands have taken notice. According to a report from Music Business Journal, Jamal has already been approached for potential collaborations with Nike's community-based campaigns, Dove Men Plus Care for a Fathers Who Heal initiative, and several Black-owned health and wellness brands targeting authenticity over celebrity. His debut single, Heal, a gospel-infused soul anthem, racked up over 1.5 million streams in its first week across platforms, a staggering number for a newly minted Idol winner with zero prior label exposure. TikTok creators embraced the track as a soundtrack for transformation, with challenges themed around overcoming hardship, and parents showing emotional moments with their children. On YouTube, reaction videos to his finale performance surged past the million-view mark, with content creators praising not just his vocal control, but his vulnerability. Jamal has also quickly learned the strategic value of his growing digital presence. His team, reportedly composed of both Meridian locals and seasoned music marketers, is crafting a hybrid brand that bridges his soulful authenticity with mass appeal. He's begun teasing acoustic versions of unreleased songs, Q&A sessions with fans, and even live streams from his elementary school gym, blending the fame with familiarity. Behind the scenes, insiders say he's in talks for a docu-style short series titled Faith and Fatherhood, which would follow his life as a musician, a teacher, and a single dad adjusting to the pressures of fame. But with great exposure comes great scrutiny. Already, tabloids are digging for cracks, probing into Jamal's past relationships, questioning his future in teaching, and speculating on potential romantic entanglements. For now, Jamal has sidestepped the noise. In his own words, "They can talk. I'll keep singing." And if early indicators are anything to go by, the world is definitely listening. While many freshly crowned American Idol winners dive headfirst into fame, Jamal Roberts has taken a different route, doubling back to the place that raised him. Just weeks after his win, Jamal returned to Meridian, Mississippi, not as a celebrity, but as a man on a mission. Standing on the same school gymnasium floor where he once led elementary students through relay races, Jamal announced the launch of the Harmony and Lyric Foundation, named after his daughters. The foundation's goal: to fund youth choir programs, rebuild music departments in underfunded public schools, and provide mentorship opportunities for kids who, like Jamal once did, dream quietly from the sidelines. According to city officials, Jamal has already committed a portion of his Idol winnings to Meridian's public school system, specifically for upgrading music equipment, hiring part-time choir instructors, and offering scholarships for summer vocal camps. He's also partnered with 2 regional HBCUs to sponsor annual Gospel and Grit workshops, aimed at nurturing soulful talent and teaching young performers how to balance artistry with life's responsibilities. But Jamal's outreach isn't limited to music. In an emotional town hall streamed on Facebook Live, he spoke openly about the challenges facing his hometown: poverty, rising youth violence, and dwindling extracurricular funding. "We can't just wait on change," he said. "We have to be it. And I want to be more than a voice on a stage. I want to be a hand that lifts." That message resonated deeply. Within days, donations poured in from fans across the country. Churches held fundraisers. Alumni groups from Meridian High pledged monthly support. Even local businesses began offering free rehearsal space to budding musicians. Jamal's former school, Crestwood Elementary, is set to rename its music room in his honor this fall. The district superintendent confirmed that a new after-school music mentorship program, designed by Jamal himself, will pilot this upcoming semester, focusing on confidence building through song for kids aged 7 to 12. "He's not just a success story," one teacher said. "He's planting seeds for the next one." Rumors have also begun swirling that Jamal is considering a broader civic role, perhaps even a future run for school board or city council. When asked directly in a recent interview, he smiled and said, "I'm not a politician, but I care. And sometimes, caring is the loudest kind of leadership." Whether through microphones or municipal meetings, one thing is clear: Jamal Roberts isn't just giving back. He's building forward. With a trophy in hand, a growing digital empire, and a heart still tethered to his Mississippi roots, the question on everyone's mind now is simple: what's next for Jamal Roberts? If industry chatter is any indication, the answer is everything, and fast. Hollywood Records has reportedly begun mapping out a national tour schedule for late 2025, with major cities like Atlanta, Chicago, and Los Angeles already on the shortlist. But this won't be a glitzy pop spectacle. Jamal's vision for the tour, insiders say, is a stripped-down, soul-first experience, part concert, part revival, with moments of spoken-word testimony and surprise guest appearances from community gospel choirs in each city. It's less about smoke machines and more about spirit. There's also growing buzz about a potential collaboration with Jelly Roll, who famously praised Jamal's rendition of Liar during the Idol season. Both artists have exchanged public admiration online, and according to a recent Billboard report, label representatives are working to schedule a recording session in Nashville before the end of the summer. If the duet materializes, it could be one of the most emotionally potent cross-genre pairings of the year. Gritty country soul meets gospel thunder. Meanwhile, Jamal's debut album is quietly in development, though details remain under wraps. Early leaks suggest the project will blend classic soul influences with gospel storytelling and modern production, with titles rumored to include Unshaken, Lesson Plans, and Silent Windows, a nod to the nights he spent waiting as a child for a mother who didn't come home. The album is expected to drop in early 2026, and the label is banking on it not only to chart, but to position Jamal as a genre-defining voice in a music industry desperate for authenticity. Beyond the music, entertainment insiders have hinted at a BET-backed biopic in development, tentatively titled The Soul Teacher, which would chronicle Jamal's life from Meridian classrooms to national stardom. While no formal casting has been announced, some suggest Jamal may even narrate or cameo as his future self. At the same time, his harmony and lyric foundation continues expanding, and Jamal has reportedly expressed interest in launching a podcast that discusses faith, fatherhood, and the hidden stories behind his songs. And yet, despite the whirlwind of contracts, cameras, and commitments, Jamal remains strikingly grounded. In his latest Instagram Live, he filmed from his backyard, barbecue smoke curling in the background, lyric clinging to his arm, harmony running barefoot in the grass. "I'm still just me," he said, smiling. "Same guy, same heart. The dream's bigger, but my why stays the same." Jamal's future may be unwritten, but if his past is any indication, every next step will be purpose-driven, heart-led, and unforgettable. As the lights dim on American Idol Season 22, and the echoes of Jamal Roberts' final performance fade into television history, the real story is only just beginning. We've seen it before, winners who burn bright for a moment, only to vanish in the churn of an unforgiving industry. But Jamal feels different, not because he won, not because he sang better, but because he stood on that stage not seeking stardom, but offering himself as a vessel for his daughters, for Meridian, for anyone who's ever felt invisible. His rise wasn't an accident. It was years in the making, built on empty bank accounts, late-night tears, and whispered prayers over sleeping children. And now, as label executives, sponsors, and media outlets clamor for his time and talent, the world is watching to see one thing: can Jamal stay true? He's already defied the blueprint. He refused to be packaged. He turned critiques into applause. He walked into the spotlight with scars showing, and left with a nation standing behind him. But the fame machine is relentless. It flatters, it tempts, it dilutes. And staying grounded in the midst of global attention may be Jamal's hardest test yet. Will he be allowed to create music that honors his faith? Will he resist being polished into something palatable for algorithms? Or will he bend under the pressure, trading purpose for popularity? What we know is this: Jamal Roberts didn't climb here for himself. He sang with the weight of two little girls on his shoulders. He carried a town where dreams usually die young, and every step he's taken has been anchored in something bigger than the charts. So if anyone can rewrite the narrative, it's him. The journey ahead is filled with opportunities and traps. But as long as Jamal keeps leading with soul, with story, and with that unshakable heartbeat of a father, a teacher, and a believer, then maybe, just maybe, this isn't the end of a season. It's the beginning of a legacy.